What is up, YouTube? Zuki-M1 here, and I am back with a brand new YouTube video. Today we are going to be reviewing my Justimon deck for ex8 / BT20. I'm not sure if I'm going to make any adjustments just yet, but let me go ahead and go over what we have so far in the deck. So roughly the deck still looks the same compared to what it was before, but for those of you guys who didn't see what my original Justimon deck looked like before, I'll go over this as quickly as humanly possible. So first, we're running 4 copies of the Doraemon. Doraemon has the effect all turns, which is extremely valuable and very important to this deck. All turns, when another Digimon with blocker is deleted, gain 1 memory. So not this Digimon with blocker, but another Digimon with blocker would die. You can gain a memory, and we'll go over why that's very important in just a bit. But just know that this egg is super important for the Justimon strategy moving forward, in my personal opinion. Next, we are running 4 copies of the Hagurimon from the BT15. It has the effect on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Machine / Sliborg, so that's going to be all of your Cyberdramons, all of your Justimons. So all of these guys are targets, including his own line as well, like the Hagurimon ex8. Then you can also grab 1 Black Tamer. Hopefully you don't see the Black Tamer that way. You really kind of want to see it off the Cyberdramon, because Cyberdramon gets to play it out for free. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the inheritable is actually insanely good. It has the inheritable of Reboot. So, you know, once your Digimon is suspended on your turn, it gets to unsuspend during your opponent's unsuspend phase to prevent them from just being able to run it over by attacking over it. So they're going to have to use some type of Digimon effect or option to deal with your Justimon if you didn't kill them that turn. Next, we're running 4 copies of the Hagurimon ex8. It has the effect that it can Digivolve. Well, first, you can Digivolve this over Hagurimon for free. And then when Digivolving, you may play a Hagurimon token, which is just a free token that you get, which has blocker and decoy. Now, the key words there were blocker and decoy. So if you have a Justimon on your side of the board with a Hagurimon, that blocker is going to also eat the option that your opponent was trying to use against you, and also you're gaining memory because that Hagurimon is going to be deleted, and this is all turns off the Doraemon. So synergy in that regard, right? And it also has the inheritable of giving your Digimon blocker. So this guy gives you Reboot, this guy gives you blocker. That's a lot of value just off these 2 alone. Next week, to round out our rookies, we are running 3 copies of Ukomon from BT16. When one of your Digimon move from the breeding area, search the top 3 cards and then grab 1 Digimon or Tamer amongst them and return the rest to the bottom of your deck. Then you may hatch in your breeding area. So we kind of needed Ukomon. We needed the ability to search, at least until we get the Monochromon from BT19/20. Because this guy just really helps you be able to search for the pieces that you're missing, and there's a lot of times you're not going to be always able to grab whatever you need in this deck, so Ukomon just kind of rounds it out pretty well. On top of that, you can trigger this multiple times depending on how many copies of Ukomon you got on your side of the board. And believe it or not, a lot of people like to waste a lot of resources in killing your Ukomons. So you could actually get a lot of value out of him, not even just because of the searching, but just because people are going to waste resources on killing this guy. You know, I guess shout outs to the people who saw the movie, because Ukomon is just a nice little boy who just wants to help out his homies, but you know, whatever. Alright, next we're moving on to our champions. We are still running 4 copies of the Sheepmon. This card is absolutely insanely broken in so many different ways. It has the effect Collision, which forces your opponent to become a blocker, and one of their Digimons have to block your attack. So if they're already naturally a blocker, they have to block, and then if they're not a blocker, they become a blocker and have to block. So this really punishes your opponent when they put out just a random rookie to pass turn with, because what this allows you to do is you can digivolve into one of your Higurimons, digivolve into a Sheepmon, and then swing with this Sheepmon. Sheepmon will then trigger collision. Those two will then battle. You gain a memory off the Dorimon because a blocker was deleted. It doesn't specify your blockers. It just says a blocker. And guess what? That guy just became a blocker. So you gain a memory off your Dorimon, helping you extend your turn even further. And it just helps you clear bodies off your opponent's side of the board. So you get rewarded for doing something you were already trying to do in the first place. And as you guys know, I love getting rewarded for stuff that I was already going to do anyway. And it also has the really cool effect of when an attack target is switched, you may end the attack. What does that mean? So you remember that Higurimon token that you generated off the Higurimon effect? You can use that to block an attack and then use the Sheepmon's effect to end the attack. Imagine a 1k token that cannot attack just ended the attack of a Magnamon X antibody or a Machinedramon or a Gallimon X antibody, right? It just ended their attack. They cannot attack anymore. Sheepmon also has armor piercing, so if they try to delete your stack, it can protect itself by just popping off the top. Obviously, if they delete it again, then there's really not too much you can do about it, and we don't really have any options for DP based deletion. There's no protection against that. Decoy doesn't work for DP based deletion, so if they use like Heaven's Judgment, there really aren't too much you can do about that, unfortunately. That's like one of the only weaknesses to the Justimon packets. Like, we can deal with deletion, we just can't deal with DP based deletion. That one's kind of rough. Next, we are on to the Gettymons. Now, again, people look at this and be like, what the heck is this thing doing in here? It has actually an insanely good, we don't care about the on play / de-digivolving effect. Basically, on play, you can discard another Gettymon because you're not running anything else. You can discard another Gettymon to give one of your opponent's Digimon negative security. That might pop up to save your life, maybe, but you really care about the inheritable, which is when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gains negative security until the end of your turn. This is not once per turn, so if you have multiple Gettymons, you can stack up -4 security and you can apply it across your entire opponent's board just based off the Justimon effect himself, right? Because he gets to unsuspend himself. So swing, target 2 Digimon, they get negative securities, unsuspend, swing again, and -2 security again, right? So 2 Digimons can have up to -4, or 4 Digimons can have up to -1, right? It just really just depends on what their board state looks like. And then you use both of these two to DNA Digivolve into Shakomon. Shakomon has the effect when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon is unaffected by Digimon's effects. Then, if DNA Digivolve, you may place one of your opponent's Digimons with as high or lower level as the number of securities in either your security stack or their security stack. That's a lot. Basically, what that's saying is that if you have 5 security and your opponent has 4, you can target your own security to bounce back a level 5. If your opponent has more security than you, so like say they have 6 or 7, you can bounce back a level 6, and if they have a level 7, then you can bounce back a level 7. So whatever that number of security is on either side, you can choose. That's the cool part about that. You can choose. So if you're more of a security control deck and you want to use Shakomon, you can trigger that effect, bounce a high level Digimon on your opponent's side of the board into their security. So pretty good off of that alone. And then it also has partition, so if it dies, you can play out these bodies again and then DNA back into another Shakomon. And the main reason why you're running this is because you're immune to aces. So aces are no longer a weakness to Justimon. Because if you guys know, anybody who plays Justimon knows that this deck is inherently weak to aces. Yeah, that's it. We're just really weak to aces. Because the deck wants to swing and aces want to prevent you from swinging. So you run Justimon to make sure that you don't have to worry about your opponent preventing you from being able to achieve the most basic of strategies, which is punch that dude in the throat. Now, sometimes you're not gonna always see your Justimon. That's just it. That's just a given, right? So a lot of times you're gonna have a game state where you have this guy over this guy with the token into a Justimon. Justimon triggers effect, end one of the attacks, they swing again. Now you have an ace of your own, Justimon. And Justimon is going to come down, going to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and then play out one black tamer. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All of these guys are black. And then you can de-digivolve your opponent's Digimon by 1. And obviously, because it has this guy in the source, it's now an 8K blocker that you can block and then delete that opponent's Digimon that just attacked, right? Also, it just helps you set up those tamers for free. And sometimes you might break, right? Sometimes you might break. That's a given, right? Your opponent passed you with 3, you ain't got shit in your hand. Fuck it, slam Justimon. It's an 8K level 5 Digimon that's going to play out some bodies for free, and it's one of the very few aces right now in the game that has an inheritable, which is when attacking once per turn, you may de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. So that helps you not have to worry about aces as well, because you can de-digivolve that Digimon that would have had an ace potential. So pretty good in that regard, because this also helps you protect your Justimon as well. The only thing is that instead of when it dies, you can pop out 2 bodies for free to go into another level 5, you just overflow 3. So that kind of hurts, but you got to pick and choose your battles, you know. Next, we are running 3 copies of the classic. This guy has been around since ex8, and he's still so good. We got our boy Justimon Blitzarm. He needs no introduction, but I'll give it to him anyway, just because he's just that damn goated. Alright, when Digivolving, activate one of these effects below. This Digimon gains 2k DP, or you get to unsuspend this Digimon, or you can delete one of your opponent's Digimons with a play cost of 5 or less. Now, that last part before was never used. Now it has a lot of versatility because there are a ton of aces in the game. And if it's a level 4 ace, level 5 ace, they all cost between the cost of 5, like Justimon Ace, or primarily the cost of 4, like every single other level 5 ace. So now all of those things are targets for Justimon to be able to pop, and then you gain back memories to continue your onslaught of attacks. And then when you attack, you can trigger as many of his when Digivolving effects as you have tamers. So if you have 6 tamers, you get to trigger his when Digivolving effect 6 times. So you get to unsuspend and then gain a bunch of DP and then pop a bunch of bodies on your opponent's side of the board. And then you can Digivolve into Justimon Critical Arm. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, what the fuck happened to Excel Arm? You don't need him anymore. I'll explain why in a bit. But Justimon Critical Arm has the effect, by returning one Justimon in name other than Critical Arm to your hand, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the cost 9 or less. Now, why would I play this? For those of you guys who don't know, a lot of the bigger aces, so the level 6 aces and the level 7 aces, are between the costs of 9 and 7. So the overflow 4s and the overflow 5s are now within your range of being able to pop off the Critical Arm. So Critical Arm just became a valuable card now because of all the new aces. So now instead of living in fear of aces, you can now start punishing aces because they just slammed them without mercy against your deck, and now you can punish them for using those against you. So it also has the effect when attacking. If you have a tamer in play, this may digivolve into a Justimon in name other than himself for the cost of 2, so you can go right back into your Justimon. Trigger its effect to unsuspend, so whatever bonuses you gave it, it keeps it, and then apply it again when attacking, and then unsuspend, and then that's when you trigger and go into Justimon X Antibody, our hero, our savior, that everything we ever wanted from a fucking Digimon. This guy is the absolute fucking Chad. It has the effect of Rush, Piercing, +1 security. Just those 3 alone was like, wow, but they did even more. It has the effect, when attacking once per turn, you may activate the when digivolving effect of one of the Justimons underneath this guy as if it was his own when digivolving effect, and then end of your turn, if your opponent has an unsuspended Digimon, this may attack a player. So there might be times where you have to pass turn. This gets a pseudo rush effect as well to be able to end the game. So there was a couple times where you guys would see I would pass turns over with the Excel arm, and then that would end my turn, right? Like I couldn't do anything else. Now if I go into this one, if they have an unsuspended Digimon, I can just run into their head and just win the game that way. Super valuable, super good. I cannot stress this enough. But the one drawback with this guy, if you haven't noticed, is that he cannot change his form. So once you're in your Justimon X Antibody, it cannot revert back to a previous Justimon. It is permanently locked into this Justimon X Antibody. So you can no longer swap forms and go back and forth between all the other forms that you have available to you. You're stuck with this guy. Not saying it's a bad thing, it's just once he's in this form, he's in this form. You are locked in place. You cannot do anything about that. So yeah, that's why he's only at 2. But with just these 2 alone, this could potentially be game. Because essentially what you're going to do is, if you have 2 to 3 tamers set up, you can swing, trigger all 3 of his when digivolving effect, gain 2k, unsuspend, and pop ace. If they don't have an ace, give yourself another 2k. Then digivolve into this guy for 1. He'll trigger its when digivolving effects, give himself an additional 2k again, pop something, and then swing, and he'll get to unsuspend himself. And then no, actually he doesn't get to unsuspend himself. That was also one of the drawbacks, unfortunately. He doesn't get to unsuspend himself again. So you kind of always want to go 1, 2, 3 in this order, not go 1, 2, because once you go into this, you're locked into place, and you also can't trigger its when attacking effect, which allows you to trigger your when digivolving effects again. So the Justimon X Antibody isn't bad, but it kind of hinders the strategy because you can't swap forms. So you're kind of locked into place with this guy, and you got to use what you got available to you. So just want to throw that out there for you guys. Next, we're on to our tamers. We're running 3 copies of Izzy Joe. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, gain 2 memory. This does come up quite a bit, but you're really using it for the opponent's turn effect, which is when one of your black Digimons is deleted, suspend this table to draw 1 card. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Your Kohagurimon. I keep bringing up this token because this token is so fucking good. If it dies after protecting one of your dudes, you can tap this guy to draw a card, and then you can gain a memory off the Dorimon. Synergy, baby, synergy. And again, if they have 2 Digimon, you just gain 2 memory. So if they pass you with 1, you're at 3. If they pass you with 2, you're at 4, and so on and so forth. That with combination with tie, that can equal up to starting your turn off with 5 memory, or 7 memory, or 9 memory, including these guys as well to also give you an additional memory. There's quite a few times where I had like all my tamers lined up and just was not punished. Just was not punished. But yeah, this guy is really good. And then we are running the 3 copies of the Structure Deck Tie from Structure Deck 15. It's a memory fixer, and then when an attack target is switched, by suspending this tamer, draw 1 card, and one of your Digimons gain 2k DP until the end of the turn. Now, notice how it doesn't say the Digimon that got its attack switch or anything else. This card allows you to be diverse in terms of who you want to give that 2k to. So if it's more beneficial to give it to somebody else after your opponent chose to block something else, you can then give that 2k to one of the guys who do matter, and then continue your onslaught that way. And it also just helps you cycle through your deck even that much faster, because you draw a card every time they do that, because this is an all turns effect, so it triggers on both players' turns. Really good. Then we got the Kazu. Kazu started the main. If you control a cyborg or machine, so any of these guys or this guy or these guys, gain 1 memory, and then when one of them attack, you can draw a card and then trash a card in your hand. This is better in Machine Dramon, but you really just use it for the extra memory and sometimes for the cycling to draw cards and discard cards to get to what you need, because it doesn't specify on what you have to discard. So if there's something that's dead in your hand that you can't utilize, that's the perfect time to just draw a card and just toss it, because you don't need it right now. 1 copy of the Black Memory Boost. Really just to help with the searching, but also greedily for the +2 memory that you get for the following turn. I can't stress this enough, you can't have too much memory in a Justimon deck. You can never have too much memory. You need every single memory you can get in this deck, and this helps you with those types of I'm trying to push for game situations. 3 copies of the Black Scramble. Now, this card is really good because not only does it allow you to digivolve into your Justimon for 2, or to digivolve into anything that you need for a reduced cost of 3, but it also, if it gets flipped out of security, allows you to play out your Giddymons or your Hagurimon. So you can get free searches or set up for a Shakomon play for the following turn. So really, really, really cool synergy, because this doesn't specify level, it only specifies DP value. And because the Giddymon is only 1k, you can play this off the effect of your Black Scrambles and then set up for the following turn by slamming another Giddymon, go into your Shakomon, play a Scramble, digivolve into Justimon, and now you got a Justimon that can swing that same turn because you DNA digivolve, and DNA digivolving makes it attack ready that same turn that you went into it. So, I don't know, there's a lot of value. Then we're running 3 copies of the Defense Training. Search the top 2 cards of your deck, grab a black card, and then on the following turn, you can reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. Same as you guys notice a lot in my decks, I run 3 copies of the Black Scrambles, 3 copies of the Defense. Sometimes you might see a couple memory boosts in there, sometimes, depending, right? Depends on how much searching I need, depending on, a lot of different factors, but you're always going to see the Scrambles and the Defense, because the Scrambles just allow you to reset the game state so efficiently. It's so crazy, and there's a lot of times where you actually run out of cards, but you would never deck out now, because Scrambles allow you to put a card to the top of your deck before you start your turn. So before you draw, you trigger the Scramble, put a card to the top of your deck, draw into that card, and then play out a body, right? That's just really good. I don't really have to explain how good that is. Not having to worry about decking out is always really, really good in any type of card game. Yeah, that's the deck, guys. Like I said, not too much has changed. Really, the biggest changes here are the black memory boost. I put that in there. I put the critical arms because we don't need the excel arms now that we have Justimon X antibody, and we are running the Ukamons to help increase the search potential. Do I think this is the best version of Justimon? I'm not sure. I need more testing, and I need more of the cards from BT 19 and 20. But as you guys know, I am one of Justimon's biggest stands. I'm one of their biggest soldiers. If you guys go to my Twitter and you look down, for over 100 days, I begged Bandai. No, I shit you not. I literally begged Bandai for over 100 days for new Justimon support. So I am one of the biggest stands of this deck. I will always try to push this deck. I will always try to make it relevant because I love this deck with every fiber of my being. I want this to be successful. I want this to be meta relevant. I want this to be a good deck. That's why I don't even bother running any of the devices. Those cards are absolute dog shit. Like, it is so bad. I cannot stress that enough. All of the devices themselves aren't bad per se, but them with the Justimon strategy just does not work together unless they flush out a way to really gain a lot of value from you having those devices. There is really ever no point of you ever using those cards, at least in my opinion. The cards are just so bad, and there's just no world where you can excuse using those cards that could have potentially just helped you get to your OTK faster or help you do something else that is more beneficial to the strategy than just utilizing those devices. Because yeah, they're cool when they're when you activate them or they get flipped out of security, but then you just got cards that's just sitting on your board waiting to be trashed by a Justimon effect, and you just, I don't know, it's just not that good to me, right? Like, you could have used cards that can search, you can use cards that can help you get into your strategy better. I don't know, I just feel like there's so many other cards that's just so much more valuable and useful than those devices. If they had more, if they were all like black devices, maybe, right? Like, maybe there could have been a world where I could have saw them being kind of useful, but nah, not where they at right now. So yeah, that's my opinion of Justimon. This is my current list for ex8. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video, and if you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. But this has been Justimon, and I hope you guys have a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, and great night. But I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.